strode to the front of them all. They said their prayers in unison. Our Father, who art in heaven. After prayers they had breakfast sitting on mats on the school veranda, a crumbly white idli with a spoonful of jaggery and sweet tea with milk, and after that a lady in white took away the banana leaf plate, and another lady walked around with a big bucket and a ladle, pouring water over the children's hands to wash off the idli and jaggery, and then it was time for lessons, sitting right there on the mats. This morning English was the first lesson, and teacher called on Paul, though all the children had stretched up their hands and waved them, all except 2 or 3 who didn't know their alphabet yet. But Paul knew his. A, B, C, D, he began, and only once he hesitated before M. He always mixed up M and N, but today he got it right, and when he was finished all the children and teacher clapped. After the first lesson came Hindi and then Tamil, and then the boys and girls went to the toilet. They had to walk in a straight line, each one holding onto the shoulders of the child in front, without running. The toilet was the field. You had to be careful because there were thorns, but the soles of Paul's feet were quite hard, and thorns didn't bother him much, unless they got in deep. Paul never cried when that happened. He just told teacher, and teacher would pull out the thorn with the rusty tweezers she kept on the ledge above the window. Teacher was nice. If you had to do a poopy, she gave you a cup of water to wash your bam-bam with, and a little spade to cover it with sand. You had to be careful not to step on the poopies of the other children. But the poopies were mostly hidden behind bushes and rocks. After the toilet there were more lessons, and then there was lunch. The children sat on their mats, and 2 ladies pushed a wagon with a huge cauldron on it between the rows, and each child got a dollop of rice on a banana leaf plate, and then a spoonful of samba. Paul was always so hungry he ate up every single rice grain, wiping the plate with his forefinger so it was bright shiny green afterwards. After lunch the children lay down on their mats to sleep. The sun was high in the sky by now, and the ground so hot it burned your souls, but the veranda was shaded by a palm-leaf roof, and though the breeze blowing through was also hot, it made you nice and sleepy. Paul was just dozing off when he heard the throbbing of the motorbike as it turned into the courtyard with a splatter of gravel. He turned his face towards the sound and opened his eyes a slit. He saw at once that the rider was a Sahib, even though he wore a white lungi like any other man. Sahibs always wore trousers, Paul knew. He was a Sahib because though his face was brown like everyone else, it was a golden-reddish kind of brown, and his hair was also golden-brown, not black. Paul had never seen a real live Sahib or Mem-Sahib before, only pictures of them in his school books, so he pretended to sleep while squinting out beneath half-closed eyes, watching the Sahib as he flung one leg over the motorcycle seat, jacked the bike up on its stand, and walked forward, looking around as if searching for someone. Paul saw that he was limping, and, strangest of all, he wore socks with his chappals. Paul had seen pictures of socks in his English reader, S's for sock, but had never seen anyone actually wearing them before. These were grey and had a blue stripe. Mother Immaculata bustled out towards the man, the ring of fat between her sari blouse and skirt wobbling as she ran. Paul knew that Sahibs shook hands when they met each other, but this Sahib made a pranam to Mother Immaculata, laying the palms of his hands together like they did when they were praying. But Mother Immaculata didn't like that. She stretched out her hand, and the man shook it. Paul watched carefully, because this was very unusual and very interesting. What was the man doing here? Sometimes, not very often, the children had visitors. Men and women came. Paul knew they were aunts and uncles of the children, although he himself had no aunts and uncles. But never Sahibs. Had the man come to choose a child? Paul's heart beat faster. It hardly ever happened that a child was chosen, and this time it couldn't be, because then a lady would be with the Sahib. Once, just before Christmas, a man and a lady had come in a big black car. Mother Immaculata had told the children the day before that they were coming to choose a child to be their very own, because the lady had lost a child, which Paul thought very careless of her.